We want to change the way financial institutions organize and operate their data. And so, our hope is that people will look at the ACTA standard, understand what it is, appreciate its value, and then be prepared to use it to make money. And so vendors who want to sell products and services to banks, if they sell a product that has ACTA embedded in it, they now have the data foundation to sell a whole host of products that can be built around the ACTA standard. So our goal is we want people to make money using ACTA.
So check this out. Here's the recent report. Casper blockchain hits 2 million in block height. Huge thanks, of course, to the community. Trace back their journey in regards to block hashes here. Not necessarily do that, but this was reported. I think it's a big deal. And if anything, we're going to bring it to you guys here in a moment. So I want to share a little bit more about this because, I mean, it's a big accomplishment, right? We can, of course, go down that journey if we choose to do so. But what I really want to point out to you guys is a little bit more of what was reported from Casper. They retweeted this officially from the X Frontier. A lot of you guys follow X Frontier, Kevin Cage, and so on. So check this out. Actus. We haven't talked about this for a while, but it's still very important. So here's the update. So it talks about how the Actus standard condenses 98% of all financial activity into 32 algorithmic smart financial contracts, and it will soon be the ISO standard. Remember in the past, we always talk about, Casper, like they're not officially ISO 222, but it seems like they're going to be. Well, here you go. Here's another thing about just that. Casper is just one public chain building on the standard through its joint ventures over at Nucleus Finance. And of course, like it says, their joint venture of Casper Labs, Ariadne, building financial solutions on Casper's blockchain. Now it says ADA, as in Cardano, Ethereum, are also building on this work. Based on his research, as in X Frontier, Casper seems to be the only one with a live use case, and he's happy to be proved wrong, right? I like that. Sometimes even myself, like I'm not right all the time, He believes more chains will eventually leverage Actus in the future, which in his opinion will be healthy for the DOT ecosystem overall because of interoperability. As this guy, who is Ralph Kubli, right? He mentions below, he verifies the moment of assets across chains, and he points out how it's important, but it's critical to verify the asset class itself, the life cycle management, cash flows, valuations, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to play this. This is pretty well done, right? You just got to like one of the key highlights here. I want to play for you guys because it's been a while since we shared some Casper news for you. Hey, let's not forget about Casper. Check this out. Smash that like. Here we go.
We at Casper, when we built something in finance, we built everything on the what we call the Actus standard. By the way, not just Casper is building on this standard. Cardano has also implemented parts of this standard, certain people in the Ethereum environment. So the standard is the result of the financial crisis in 2008, when some really intelligent people got together and said, we knew we didn't know anything, so we have to change this. And we need to bring transparency to the cash flows on a systemic level. Right. The reason why we're building on an open source standard is we want to have asset interoperability, right? So it doesn't matter where the asset's going to live. If the asset lives on Cardano and the asset lives on Casper, or another asset lives on Casper, we need to be able to compare these two assets, right? If it's a bond lives on Cardano, or a bond lives in a, by the way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be on blockchain. If the bond lives, in DTCC, and if the bond lives, in a Morgan Stanley, or in a bank's, lifecycle management system, ideally they're identical, right? And hopefully they're also lifecycle managed identically. The reality is they're not, which is why we have these reconciliation problems, which is why we have these systemic crises from time to time, because people disagree on what certain values are on individual firms' balance sheets, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Now, what I want to jump back to before we get out of this, okay, is a little bit more of what we have from Casper. And this is good as well. Well, again, guys, it's nice to get a lot of condensed, updated news in regards to Casper. But check this out as well. This comes straight from the Casper network. I'll come out of the frame, or come back in the frame, I should say. And I will give you a little brief gist of this real quick before we play this other quick 42-second video. It says it's time to get serious about real finance, right? Smart financial contracts should be the basis for the innovation of financial systems. So again, if you're new to Casper and just on the surface, like, we're always reporting on Stellar in regards to Sorbonne as a key smart contract platform for Stellar. But this is Casper we're talking about here. But the key thing is on this one is a smart financial contract, right? Yes, I would agree. It should be the basis for innovation of financial systems. This is where Casper has always stood out, in my opinion, in the past. We talked about so many projects building on Casper, but how about this? So many different ones in the financial sector with smart contracts. If we believe in dApps, understand that there's also going to be financial dApps. How big will that be for Casper? And especially how big will that be for you as a holder of the actual, the coin, right? So Mark Greenslade, who is the head of R&D at Casper Association, had this recent conference, and we're going to jump into this real quick. Again, it's just real brief, and we'll be right back. Here we go.
So my name is Mark Greenslade. I'm head of R&D at the Casper Network, and we're here in Washington, D.C. to support the work of the Actus Foundation. The support of that work from the Casper Network perspective is all about getting serious and real about finance. Until now, blockchain systems have focused very much upon primitive financial instruments such as currencies or maybe NFTs or maybe collateralized DeFi products. But really, we want to start engaging with real-world finance. And that begins and ends with financial contracts.
So basically speaking, there's, of course, a little bit more, but I want to just take a pause to reflect on that. Yeah. He didn't come out and say it, but it's kind of like a nice little slap to, meme tokens and, NFTs that just, let's just be honest, all right? Some of them just are just like seems like glorified JPEGs, right? Yeah, you could sell them, on market on places like OpenSea and whatnot, but do some of these have actual utility? Well, what about a platform that can provide you some kind of utility, right? And especially being able to create a platform where you have maybe hundreds of actual financial contracts, smart financial contracts. Don't you think that's going to be big in itself? We talk about, for instance, like mutual funds and stuff like that. You're trying to tell me that maybe some of these investments that you've, been in tune with for many years as a customer or a client, they're not going to be innovative and recognize the future of where things are going. You better believe that they're going to want a platform where not only is it fast and efficient and easy to use, but where they can have a dev be able to easily deploy what their vision is based on that smart contract. They don't even need to know it's called a smart contract, right? They're just, that investment firm, if you will, who just is like, you know what, we really need a platform to get on, be onboarded, and we just need it to work. Can you guys do this for us? Yeah, absolutely. Hi, I'm so-and-so from Casper, and we can get that deployed for you and so on. All right, multiply that by like literally hundreds of different financial smart contracts. You don't think that's going to be big in itself? And that is just one of many different things that Casper brings to the table. This is why I will not also dismiss Casper. I'm not going to give into the recent FUD of what's going on in the market and say, you know what, Casper's not moving. Like I've always mentioned before, utility in motion? What about the implementation of, smart financial contracts? You still got to give it a chance to get to these points. We're still building. We're still so very early. All right, that concludes the Casper coverage for today. Been a long time since we actually got into some of these detailed reports from Casper, but glad to do it.